Fear is a natural part of your life. It is there to protect you, but it can also overtake your life. What starts as this fleeting fear thought that comes in now starts circulating. You grab onto that fear and you're holding on to it. And that fear thought starts to dominate your feelings. It starts to take over your thoughts. Hey guys, I'm Dina and welcome back to my channel. So today we're talking about how you can prevent fear from blocking your manifestations. So how does fear prevent or block you from living the life that you want? A great way to understand this is to realize that your imagined scenarios in your mind, these are the thoughts and the feelings that you're having all day long, are determining how you perceive the world and how you interact with the world. You know, it's the foundation of your reality. And that does not feel good. It doesn't feel good to always be fearful, to be looking around the world and syncing up with fear. So for example, let's say you have this deep-seated fear of being left by your partner. You're fearful that they're gonna leave you. And let's say one day you're at a party and you see your significant other talking to someone of the opposite sex. And because you're viewing the world through this lens of fear, you're gonna instantly feel jealous. You're gonna see them as trying to leave you. You're gonna create this imagined reality where they're flirting, where maybe they like this person better than you. You all of a sudden get really insecure and angry. You run over to them and start yelling at them, asking why they're talking to this person. And this whole situation is your imagined perception of what is happening. You know, they could easily just be having an innocent conversation about something that doesn't even matter. They're just small talking. But because you have this fear of abandonment, of this person leaving you, now all of a sudden you're viewing the world through that lens. You're changing your imagined reality to fit your fear thoughts. And so what might happen in this situation is your partner is getting yelled at for having an innocent conversation. They see you overreacting. They think you're insecure. Maybe this makes them not as attracted to you. They're constantly having to defend themselves. And eventually maybe they do leave you. You have now created that reality for yourself. And obviously this is just one example. There's so many examples of how when you're fearful, you see and perceive the world to be a different reality. And then you create that reality for yourself. And if you don't want to live in that reality, you want to live over here in a better imagined reality, you have to start perceiving the world through a different lens. Now I know that fears are really hard to block or to ignore, or to move past and let go of them. But what really helps me is to realize that fear, it's a low vibe, low frequency emotion. And I wanna be up here. I wanna be a high vibe, high frequency person. Because when you're a high vibe frequency person, you're attracting what it is you want to yourself. And so I'll remind myself when that fear comes in, I'll acknowledge, hey, this is a low vibe. I'm fearing right now. I'm in that low state. And I don't want to be here. And a trick that helps me is I name that fear. I name it something that feels icky, like it's taking over me. Like a gremlin. This fear is this gremlin just trying to get at me. Or a dementor, like from Harry Potter. Your fear is just this dementor trying to suck your energy away, keep you low vibe. Give it a name, because when you identify the fear with a name, it's no longer a part of you. You immediately create this separation between you and the fear. You don't let it sink in and start circulating. You say, no, that's the gremlin. That's the dementor trying to take away my high vibe. And I'm not letting it come in. Fears only become powerful when you accept them as true. And this is a really important point that I'm going to repeat it. Fears only become powerful when you accept them as true. And this statement really helped me through a difficult time in my life. I was going through a personal injury lawsuit, and I had a lot of money in medical bills that I owed, and I would have these fleeting thoughts come in of fear. What if I don't win this lawsuit? What if I have to pay back all this money? Oh my gosh, I signed all of these medical liens. I'm responsible for this money. And what if they come after me for this money? And oh my gosh, I would have these fears come in and they would take over me. They would circulate over and over and over again and consume me. They became my dominant feeling, my dominant thought. I was giving them power because I accepted them as true. So I decided I was not going to accept it. I was not going to let it be true. I changed my fears into what I wanted to have happen. Instead of being fearful of what if, this imagined what if, I started saying, well, what if it went my way? What if I did get the money? So I switched from what if this bad thing happened to what if this great thing happened. And once I shifted my thoughts to imagining my ideal scenario happening, I had this huge relief come over me. I started feeling as if it already happened. What would that feel like? I would feel so relieved. By imagining what I wanted, my desire, instead of my fear, I started feeling calm. I started feeling relaxed. I started feeling hopeful. And that's the reality I wanted to live in. So use my example to change your story. If you have this fear that you keep recycling and repeating and thinking and imagining happening, shift it to what you want to have happen. Start living in this imagined scenario. Let that feeling dominate you, because that's going to be your perception of the world. And you want to perceive the world as going your way. It's important for you to realize that fears compound on themselves. So if you're in a fearful state, you're this imagined reality of fear, and you're perceiving the world through that lens of fear, you're going to start drawing situations to yourself. You're going to start hearing stories. You're going to start reaffirming that this is true. And your subconscious mind is going to look for proof. It wants to prove to you that this is true. So you want to be cautious of what you're consuming through your mind throughout the day. This is going to be the TV shows you watch, the news you listen to, the social media platforms you're on. Because all of these things could just be feeding your fears, reaffirming them to be true, making that lens of fear much bigger, creating this world and reality of constant fear inside of you. So I would suggest instead to start listening to uplifting stories, watching positive TV shows, turning off the news, only following social media accounts that make you feel good, make you feel like the world is this beautiful place. Another way you can block fear from taking over you is to realize that fear is just a signal coming in. It's just showing you what's inside of you. If you were constantly fearful of someone leaving you in a relationship, like the example I used earlier, that shows you that you have a fear of abandonment. That's something you can work on. Or maybe you have a fear of money. Maybe you finally made a lot of money, but you don't feel secure in it. You're afraid it's going to go away. You're constantly fearful that the money won't come back. This shows you what's inside of you, that you're still holding on to this fear mentality, that you don't trust and love money. And so you could look at fear as this signal to work on yourself, to keep letting go of these deep-seated beliefs inside of you. Because when you let those beliefs go, when the fear thought comes in, it doesn't have anything to grab onto. It doesn't have anything to circulate and keep permeating in your mind. It just comes in, goes away. It's kind of like a cloud on a sunny day. That's how fear should be. A fear should come in like a cloud. Maybe it blocks the sun for a moment, and then it goes away, and the sun comes back out shining. That's how fear should be to you. But instead, a lot of people, and I'm guilty of this many times in my life, the fear comes in, and all of a sudden it's this dark, cloudy, thunderous, rainy day. The sun will never come back out. And that's how you let fear take over you. One of the most powerful ways that I use to get through that moment of fear, when that fear thought comes in and you're like, I can't escape it, what do I do? Use an affirmation. And one that I love is from Louise Hay. And she says, everything is working out for my highest good. Only good will come out of this situation, and I am safe. And that affirmation really resonated with me. And I always use it to this day when I'm having that moment of anxiety, fear taking over. But come up with one that makes you feel calm. And lastly, I want to leave you with this tip from Michael Singer. And he always says, when you're in that fear moment where you're imagining the worst case scenario, ask yourself, if that were to happen, can I handle it? Can I handle this thing that I'm fearing so much? And most likely, the answer is yes. When you're fearful, you're visualizing and picturing and imagining a future event. You're not living in right now. And right now is all you can control. Let future you handle that situation. You got that. If for some reason it happened, And most likely, 99% of the time, it never does, just to remind you. So bring your center of calm back to right now. Remember, you can handle this, and everything is working out for your highest good. All right, guys, that's going to wrap up today's video. I hope this video left you feeling calm, less fearful, knowing you got this. Remember my story. If I could get through, that terrifying moment of that lawsuit, owing all that money, and I was able to focus on what I wanted, what I desired more, and live in that peaceful, calm, free, relieved moment, you can too. And I hope you have a beautiful, relaxing day, and I'll see you in the next video.